So update 5 brought us the wonderful fairy godmother, and that means we can finally use the pumpkin house. So what better way to celebrate than by giving her a very own pumpkin patch? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to use some of the new items, some of the new pathing, which is very exciting, and we are going to put her in the forest because I wasn't quite feeling the Forgotten Lands for her. So let's put her in the forest. Let's make it an amazing pumpkin patch. Here we go. For the forest, I decided to put her in this little nook here. I thought that this was a nice little area and we could really do something with the different pumpkin patches. If you don't know, I totally tore down my valley just before the update, and then we later learned that the item limit was going to be increased. I am still bitter about that. I'm still upset, but it does mean that I can do lots more decorating now, so I can have a fresh new valley. It's just going to be a lot of work. But this is technically my first build of the whole new look of my valley, so it's going to be interesting, and the new item limit is definitely going to help with that. So I've put lots of trees around, added in some fences and some bushes, and then for the path I wanted it to kind of snake through so it wasn't just like a straight line down to the house. So we're gonna use the new path, but I'm gonna do like stepping stones. I wish these were circular, but they're square, but we're gonna have to make the most of them and just do like little square patches. And I've mixed up the asphalt and the dirt path, the muddy path, which I think works quite nicely. The asphalt is a bit lighter, but I didn't want to have like all the same. I wanted it to look kind of different. This was so easy to do. It's just about making them look kind of staggered and quite nice. And I think being inventive with the paths in these games this game in particular is quite hard. So doing this, I thought it was something a little bit different. I've not really seen it before. I don't know where it came to me just suddenly to try this, but I really do like the way that it looks, particularly for this kind of more natural style build. I think it felt more like cottagecore, maybe, if that's a thing. And then the bits in between looked a little bit bare, so I decided to add in these little clusters of rocks. I used to just chuck these everywhere before in my old valley, but I think now I can probably do that a bit more. But I really want to start using the paths. Now we have the paths with the borders. They are really kind of cute. They make a difference to the way that they look aesthetically. I think that they are such an improvement, so I'm really happy with that. Around the edges of the path, I decided to add in some foliage just to make it feel like natural and overgrown. I think for my forest, there was a little spot that I did keep, if you did see my valley tour video, where I had Buzz's RV and a little campsite, and also my orchard, which was one of my first speed builds that I did in Disney Dreamlight Valley. So I have kept that, but that's on the part across the bridge, and that feels very overgrown. So I'm going to try and keep that look throughout the whole of my forest, and I think it will work nicely, hopefully it will feel kind of cohesive. I know cohesive is not a word that works necessarily in this game because everything is quite different and it's hard to make everything look the same. But I do think that possibly just tying in foliage and tying in trees and stuff will help make it feel that way. I hope, fingers crossed. And then because I did obviously want this to be a pumpkin patch, you're probably thinking I haven't seen a pumpkin patch yet, but that's what we're going to get to next. So over here is where I want one of the pumpkin patches to be. So I'm going to have one pumpkin patch at the back and then one pumpkin patch near the front, so that the path kind of does separate the two areas, which I think would look quite nice, hopefully. It kind of makes sense to me just to have like things broken up, and it's going to be a very full area. There is going to be a lot of clutter if you're not figuring that out already from kind of my decoration of the landscaping items. But I'm gonna go to town now and see how long it will take me if I decorate everything fully to hit that item limit again, because why not, and see if it is possible to decorate them all. I decided to add in some lampposts along the way. I think at night time this will look nice because the pumpkin house does have like a nice little glow to it, and the lampposts kind of help feel rustic. The inside of the pumpkin house is so cute. This item is adorable as well. The pumpkin house has some really nice items in front of it, and inside of it even. Not in front of it. Inside of it there are some super nice items that I really like. One of them I did get in my Scrooge shop on the first day that I've hit the update. I got so lucky with that. And those are the new pumpkin kind of, what do you call them? They're not patches. They're like arrangement bundle type thing. There's a few different pumpkins all in one, a few different colors, and I'm using them. As soon as I saw them, I was like, this is amazing. I actually did it in this stream, but I've bought loads of them. I nearly bought all of the 25 that you can buy for one day, just because I love them that much. They're so cute. For the pumpkin patches themselves, I'm going to mix them up. I'm going to have actual pumpkins, and then I'm going to use the furniture pumpkins like I just mentioned. So these work really nicely for putting down items on top of them. Unfortunately, we learned you can't drop flowers on top of them, which is sad, but you can actually put items on top of them. And I saw someone sent me a picture. I think it was Stephanie sent me a picture of someone who had dropped produce, so like the vegetables on top of the path areas, and that works nicely. So that is such a good little tip if you're looking for extra details. I didn't know it at the time of actually building this build, but that would have looked so cute. I could have dropped down smaller pumpkins. I could go back and do that, I guess, now. But yeah, these filled the areas nicely, so I don't think it's really needed. Obviously, if you're relatively new to the game, some of these pumpkins are from the Halloween event. I have just rotated them around so you don't get to see the faces, because that doesn't quite fit with what I'm trying to do. And then the lovely Jazz suggested doing like a little flower patch here with some little plant pots, so I decided to do that. It looks cute, and I tried to pick everything that was kind of orangey so it matched with the same sort of color scheme for what I was trying to achieve here. So I really did like them, and obviously I will plant some pumpkins, and then hopefully we'll be able to get you some shots of what they look like when they're fully grown. But right now I'm just adding in more clutter. Yes, more clutter. As if there wasn't enough already. But yeah, we're just gonna fit in lots of gardening supplies, farming supplies, crates, barrels, everything, all of that good stuff that will just help fill out the area. As I was doing this, I was like, oh, it still looks a little bit bare, but trust me, it is a work in progress. When you start doing a build, I think you just really have to stick with it and just see what happens. And that's definitely my mantra for whatever was happening here. I think at first I was a bit like nervous, but I think it's hard whenever you start a build to kind of really get into it for a while. And then when you start going, you do kind of think, oh, that looks good. Right, so there we have it. I'm going to plant these pumpkins down. These I don't think I'll ever pick unless I'm in desperate need for some money. I would have to be pretty desperate. But these are just purely for aesthetic reasons. If you're decorating in the forest and you do want to help have a natural look, don't forget to use the tree trunks and tree stumps, because they definitely do help contribute to that. And then because this whole area is kind of orangey, I'm using one of my favorite items from the whole game, and it is like these barrel planters with the lovely orange flowers. I struggled for a long time to use them, again because they are quite a bright color, and not a lot goes with them, but they do work wonderfully here actually. So maybe you'll see more of them throughout the forest perhaps. It is starting to appear that it's not really in much of a kind of cohesive kind of state with the way I'm putting things, but the other kind of landscaping foliage items that I'm using, there is the bracken for the forest, which works really nicely. Obviously bushes. I have used the Forest of Valour ones and some of the Glade of Trust ones just to break up the colors a bit, and then the ferns as well. Again, some of these are the Glade ferns and some of these are just forest ones as well. And then it's time to work on the next area where we're going to have another pumpkin patch. This kind of looks like it will kind of be another 3 patch. I think I did try adding a bench because there was nothing here to really sit on, and I thought it'd be nice to overlook the patch itself, but it didn't really work, so that went pretty quickly. Yeah, so here's the second kind of, I'm gonna call them a plot, and then Danny suggested trying to put a tree in the center of them. If you're not aware, I did try do this on stream. It turns out you can't put the normal trees. You can put some of the kind of one tile item in the middle of that bordered little path area. So if you're thinking about how to incorporate these, maybe doing that would be a really nice little way to kind of add in some trees, make it look super cute, if you're just wanting a little bit more detail. But you can get some items, particularly if they're one tile, to fit in the middle. One of the things that does confuse me about this game is when you look at an item and you think that item should definitely just be 1 square, but it turns out to be 4, which just confuses me. And it's a shame because if we had more one tile items, then we could fit more in there and add more clutter, which I'm just going to stop talking about clutter because that's all I seem to be saying in this video is clutter, clutter, clutter. But who can deny how amazing clutter is? And it really does add to a build. So I've got 2 pumpkin patches and I'm going to add some more flower ones. My inventory is just getting so big. I really just wish that there was a nicer way to kind of organize everything. I didn't have as many plant plots left and I was a little bit lazy about going and building some more, but these worked. So we just had 2 rows of sunflowers and then some orange ones in the middle as well, just in case. And then we have the cart, more pumpkins, so many pumpkins everywhere. I don't know if she's not Mother Gothel. I don't know if Fairy Godmother really does strike me as the sort of person that would farm. I don't know, but I still love her and she deserves this because, as someone said during stream, it is like a pumpkin spice latte threw up in her house. Which I love that analogy because it is. Everything is very orange in there. So in my head, she needs something to make those pumpkin spice lattes. Otherwise, she's going to be very disappointed. I actually don't know the recipe for a pumpkin spice latte. I don't even know if you actually put pumpkin in one. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Should probably look into that. I know there's like cinnamon and stuff. There has to be pumpkin in a pumpkin spice latte. Otherwise, why would it be called a pumpkin spice latte? Anyway, this is definitely a massive sidetrack. As you can see, just adding in more kind of foliage, more items. So I'm just adding in some final foliage, some final trees, rocks, etc. And then I think we're nearly there. I think this is nearly it. So I have kind of taken some nice little screenshots for you so that you can have a look and see what the final area looks like. I hope you enjoyed the build. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.